Hey, welcome back to another Habs Weekly Recap with hockey coach Gold Frenchy directly for the beautiful country of Thailand on an amazing, great Sunday night, February 18, 2024. And the co-host from Hawkesbury, Marko is back in the house. And for the caveman in Toronto is with us for another time, the legend, Mr. Enortap. Welcome back, both of you, and the Weekly Recap, Montreal Canadiens.
Yes, sir, Coach Frenchy. Hey, special long weekend this weekend for most of us in Canada, anyways, other than Quebec. I know Quebec, they don't celebrate this day, but happy Family Day to everyone. It's a long weekend for Canada Day, or so for Family Day. And just want to say we're really grateful to the family that we have here at Hockey Nation. I know Enortap and Coach and I are very grateful for all of you guys that join us every week. We have a great community here. We're really thankful for Coach Frenchy to put all this work into building up this channel and hosting us. And, again, we all have our own families, of course, and that's the most important thing. But our little family here in Hockey Nation, for us hockey nerds, I appreciate it. I look forward to coming and joining you guys and enjoy probably what we're all most passionate about outside of our own families is hockey. So happy Family Day to everyone. And I'm grateful that, that I'm part of this community.
Well said, well said. Is it in Canada or is it in Ontario? Or you said no Quebec?
It's all of Canada, but Quebec for some reason doesn't celebrate Family Day, which is funny because Quebec is a very family-centric thing. But it's not a holiday in Quebec for some reason.
So what you said? They removed themselves? Or you said we don't celebrate? What the heck?
Yeah. We have Saint Jean-Baptiste instead, right? So they have an extra holiday than the rest of Canada.
But it's not that they're adverse to it, of course. It's just it'll probably take a little bit longer just to join everybody else, but that's fine. Well said, Marko. I couldn't agree with you more. Our families are all very, very important and dear to us, and especially here at Hockey Nation, I want to thank everybody for joining in every day, and especially on the recap days and the locker room days. It's always a lot of fun exchanging ideas. We don't always share the same opinions, but that's fine. That's what makes things interesting and contributes to the conversation. But more importantly, the friendships that we establish here as well are extremely important. And thank you, Coach Frenchy, for orchestrating all of this. You're the master.
Thanks so much, but at the end of the day, I'm just a little piece of the pie. I think all of you and many people in the chat are the reason why this channel consistently performing every day and growing every day. That's the most important thing behind that. And keep this with respect, like you said, and I think the friendship is the most important thing behind everything. So thanks to both of you, first of all. And secondly, it's a family day, and in Canada, maybe family matters. But in USA, is the President Weekend. This is the second biggest weekend of the year for in USA after the Martin Luther King holidays. And January, that is the time for the weekend. Like if I remind, hockey team, youth travel, junior travel. It's celebration everywhere during the weekend, tournament all around the country. You travel every weekend during that weekend to try to win a tournament. And then the most important thing is be safe, everybody, when you come back home the Monday. And that's the reason tomorrow we have a lot of game afternoon in NHL because the people give a chance to the family to go to the game. So great conjuncture between both countries. Honestly, family together, and during the weekend, the President Weekend, the families meet each other in the USA. They travel and then they celebrate again. So, of the year of the President of the USA, so it'll be interesting. That's the way to do that. So, anyway, talking about the President Weekend, this is the weekly recap for the Montreal Canadiens. Tonight, we have a lot of great subjects to talk about. First of all, we'll give you a little bit. We're going to talk about this, the Slafkovsky excellent point straight to 8 games. We'll talk about for Zazila and the rest of the team. But if you follow also the Montreal Canadiens, I create a video almost every day. But the last one was about Slafkovsky show. If you follow my other channel, I just finished a live stream a couple of minutes ago. The tip for you first hour in Bangkok, and this is the one about this. And then if you follow my other channels called the quiz option, it was a 40 question about the general knowledge. We create 2-3 video per week, the most of the time. But the most important thing tonight, the Zezla excellent point straight 8 game. But we talk about the most important, the Montreal Canadiens. That's all we got on the subject tonight. Before we start, we'd like to invite everybody in the chat to welcome back every one of them. Without them, it would be impossible. So welcome, first of all, guys. Mr. RJ Calabo back again, give us all the result, all the NHL result. Watch all you had again. Be careful, be careful. I didn't look about this until I get that one over there. And we're going to get that one, 48. I think it'll be fine. We'll drop everybody there. It'll be all right. Here we go. RJ Calabo, 3-game initial. All 3 game is over on the 9 p.m. after night. We have no sport a lot. The Montreal, no other game. The Pittsburgh Penguins, after they lead 1-0 after the celebration of Jaromir Jagr, retired is on now his jersey on the rafter. Last play scored 2-1 against the Kings. They come back with 2 goals. The Andren Kempe to win 2-1 against Pittsburgh. The Colorado Avalanche, finally, they got their strike slum. Won by the score 4-3, I believe, at the end of the day against the Arizona Coyotes. And then the Patrick Roy. Everybody think Patrick Roy is going to be an amazing, great coach. Difficult year so far for Patrick Roy. The other, I believe, was 5-2. I think it is 5-2. And
4-1.
then 5-3. 4-1, 5-3, yeah, something like that. And then the Rangers came back with 3 goals. Zibanejad tied the game with 59 seconds, I believe, or something like that. And then they scored a goal, a controversy goal, it looked like, at the overtime, and they get the W for the Rangers. Momentum shifted for the Rangers. This is a big, huge W. I think the 3 teams win today. This is really what they need, like the top of the NHL. The Colorado need that one, and the Kings to come back closer, understanding. And then, of course, the Rangers, they get that distance of the Carolina and the Flyers and maybe other teams.
Watch out, Coach. Here come the New Jersey Devils, Coach. Watch out for the New Jersey Devils right behind. Really coming on right now, too.
They're getting closer and closer, for sure.
And a lot of talk that they're looking for a goalie, so we'll see if they pick one up.
Mr. Roy from Bangkok is in the house. Welcome back, Mr. Roy. Thanks for being with us. Our friend Habs Nation is with us tonight. Welcome back, Habs Nation. Hopefully doing better. Feel better. Moderator, the captain and moderator of the Luciano Graziano is in the house tonight. Welcome back. Thanks to be with our Canadian show. I appreciate that. Samuel, de retour avec nous as well. Welcome back. Samuel is moving to Scottsdale. Scottsdale, a great city in the USA, one of the most expensive city. But good. Yeah, the training camp baseball, so you can get the other team and the baseball style. You can get the football, NFL, and then you can get also the baseball, the Diamondbacks, and of course, I don't know the Coyotes, so I'm not sure about that, Samuel. But you can go to Tucson to watching the American Hockey League if you want to go there, but it's up to you. That Tony Reardon, the reliever pitcher for the Montreal Expos for between 1996 and 2009. Welcome back, Tony. Hopefully you're doing well. He enjoyed his retirement. And Claude Richard de la belle province de l'Ontario, the captain du Canada, Ottawa. Neighbor of Mr. Claude de Marko, Mr. Claude Richard, welcome back. Patrick Leblanc, here we go. Patrick is back with all the bet he got tonight. He is now tonight not about hockey. He go on the golf today. And he tried to get a 51 for the golf, Matsuyama. And then you have NBA. Luka Tonic, Doncic. Then you go. We'll see what happened about that. Oh, the All-Star game, I did not know about that. But it's happened sometime. I like the music. Hockey pool, here we go. Peter Poinsono is back in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Peter become a regular support of the channel. Thanks so much about that. Our friend Larry Array is back in the house. Comment ça va, mon Array? Hopefully doing well. Always a pleasure to have you. Notre ami Gary is in the house tonight. Welcome back, Gary. Keep in mind, Family Day is new to Ontario. Here we go. Glad to hear that for that one. King of Gamer is go back in the house. King of Gamer destroy again another week of the fantasy hockey. Like in our tap, he want to say thank you, Peter August. But there's an exception for the time for that one over there.
Great his trade requests are very aggressive. King of Gamers for sure.
Yeah.
Always looking for. Yeah.
It's going to be the deadline. Is it the March 2nd? I believe it is in Enortap, right?
Yes, it is.
I'm sure you know that one about that.
I'll see if I can get one in between now and then.
That's the first one you check at the beginning of the year. When is the deadline for March 2nd?
Hey, look, if you're not going to be active, why participate?
I'm active.
Make things exciting.
The GM
we made a trade,
knows
Marko.
what to draft, how to draft. Should be not need to trade at the end of the year. At least you have injury.
No, well, I did have injuries, but you also have to think ahead, because don't we have a maximum number of transactions that we can perform too?
No, not this year.
Last year we did.
Yeah, I got screwed with that last
50.
Yeah, I got screwed. I think by the end of December, I didn't have any transactions left because I was, picking up players, dropping them. I was, there's a maximum per week last year, but then I ran out of transactions.
We have again this year, but we don't have unlimited.
Okay.
Oh, it's unlimited. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's all in the name of fun, and that's what's important. As long as you're enjoying doing it, who cares if you're winning, losing? But it doesn't matter.
For the people don't know, we turned the role, Marko, a couple of days ago. We're going to increase in the number of the team and the playoffs. So that's the good news about that one over there. But we will talk about this a bit later. I'm going to go through the show to give you the result of the weekly of the prediction NHL game Saturday. Very briefly give you an idea who was in the boss and the gel. And then we have Pierre Martin back in the house tonight. Pierre Martin, thank you so much to be with us tonight. Fixer back in the house. Fixer was in and out during the week. I don't know what's going on, Fixer, but maybe he fixed a couple of things. He need to be ready for the week. Who knows about that? Then Abination talk about this one thing. Roy, question: has the Montembeault bubble burst or is ready come home to roast? Marko.
Yeah, I'd say for this year, Montembeault, there's only really, I think I've been about 4 starts out of all the starts he's done that haven't been very good. Just the only problem is that 2 out of those 4 starts have come in the last 5-6 games, right? So, I wouldn't say the bubble has burst necessarily, but, you're seeing 2 games that probably weren't his best in a relatively short span. So I think it's way too early. I think overall the sample size that we've seen since last year, I think he's been very consistent. So I wouldn't be alarmed at this point yet, but it's definitely something to look at here in terms of whether he can kind of get back on track. Again, I'm not as worried about the record, like the win and loss record. It's more kind of just how he's playing, right? So last couple games, what I noticed when Montembeault was on his game is that he's controlling the pace of the game, right? He's controlling his rebounds. Like if Montreal starts running around in their zone a little bit, he's very good at game management and kind of slowing the game down. And sometimes it's kind of like what we saw with Allen at the beginning of last game. Like he was all over the place in his crease, like a little bit of chaos in his crease. So that's what I don't want to see from Montembeault. Like I want to see him get back on track, control the games. It's going to be tough, as we know here with the lineup that we have into the last stretch of the season. But I still have confidence that he'll pull it back together. But yeah, it's a good point. 2 out of the last 5 starts, I think he has 7 goals against, a couple times or whatever. So something to keep an eye on for sure.
And after I want to add something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think our bigger concern is tidying up our defense somewhat, because the goalies are making the initial saves. It's not a question of that. For the most part, they haven't been playing poorly. With Allen, he continues. I mean, we have seen a bit of a regression in him, but also he hasn't been getting much support in the games that he's been playing. And yesterday, I mean, it wasn't a horrible game. I thought he did his job. He was there. The problem is making sure you get your rebound, and if you do allow the rebound, the defense has to be a little bit more organized, because I'd say the 2 or 3 goals yesterday were just defensive miscues, And that's where I think we have to really focus our attention to.
Great point with that. If you look about his game log about this, every 5 game, he have a bad game. When I said that, like 85, 850, 70, 785. Then you got a straight 5 game after that, 900,
930.
920, 926. So for me, I would say to you, every 10 game, you have 2 bad games. If you can cut that one of the bad game every 10 game next season, that would be a better way I can express my about Montembeault. So worries, no, about that because he performed very well. I think for him is to get a little bit more consistency and maybe it could be the preparation. Can we say the 3 goalie situation help does not help? I don't. We don't have no data or science behind that. Is that really the first time about that? Is it better? One thing I would say to you, is a goalie play 2 of the 3 game every week. Can he get his rim of the goalie game better or not? That's what we don't know about that, honestly. But not worry about this. But for me, hey, cut that game every 10 game. Give me better team, better situation. And it's funny because Marko, he would tell us every game, the first 7-8 minutes of the game, if the goalie is in or is out. Like when I say in, how he track the puck, how he rebound his position,
Tracking
his posture in the net.
The biggest thing that you can see early in a game is how well they're tracking the puck and how well they're seeing the puck. So that's one of my rare gifts is I'm able to tell pretty early if a goalie is on or off. Again, can they get into the game? It's not like if they're not reading it well at the beginning of the game, it's not like they can improve that. But it gives you, like, for example, Primo, I think, is the one that you can tell the easiest whether he's seeing the puck well or not. Within the first 1 or 2 minutes, right away you can see. Allen is like that too. Montembeault is a lot more consistent, right? So it's harder to tell. But like Allen yesterday, guys, I just felt he was really, really scrambly. You know how they say with goaltenders, what you want is you want really quiet feet in the crease. You don't want somebody moving around too much. If you notice with Allen yesterday, he was super aggressive. It's good to challenge shooters sometimes, but I found he was really, really aggressive, past the blue paint. And then you're opening yourself up to kind of backdoor plays a lot when you're doing that. So I just felt he was really scrambly last night. But yeah.
Yep, so right. He almost fall on his back, he tried to make a split, whatever it is, right? You see, he did not see the puck. But if you look before that, a couple of seconds before that, look the head of Montembeault. He was completely lost by him. He's behind, tried to go lower to look about this. He was just trying to play the puck and lucky about that one, but it's not the best way to get that. And but again, it would be interesting what he's going to look at for the next couple of games for sure. 3 games this week, back-to-back game, and a game at the end. 1 at home, 2 on the road. So this opened the book to set 3 games, 1 per goalie. By the time we tell us about that, we're going to talk about this later. King, what are your thoughts on the live of Paul Giordano?
Enortap, sorry, was that for
Giordano?
Enortap?
Giordano.
Paul Giordano. He's he look, for what I heard on the social media, he's a runner chicken and Kentucky and the bar farm for Paul Giordano.
I have no idea.
Yeah, he looked like he's a runner chicken.
Okay.
Yeah. See, he tried to get the most chicken every hour. The record was 63, and he was created by the country senior. He won an American Got Talent, but Paul Giordano was the one of them. But
all right,
okay,
yeah.
All right, cool.
That's rare. We would like to have Kirby give us a bit more information about Giordano, by the way.
It's rare, Coach, that you would have more knowledge about pop culture thing than Enortap or I, because I didn't think you know anything about anything other than hockey. But
Coach is diversified. Don't worry.
I try to be on the top of everything going on about that one there. But
you impressed us.
here we go. For you is in the house tonight. Welcome back for
Welcome
that one over
you.
there. Leon Renault back in the house. Welcome back, Leon. Yager skate morning, skate with the
Leon.
pants. That's funny to see that. And then we have Luc Laporcine for L'Ange Gardien, knock the door. We don't forget about you. Montalbo is just getting his feet wet into the starting role. Give him time. He's still growing. I think Monte will be a very good goalie for years in the Habs system. Honestly, show flash at the top 15 starter already. First time since March or April the last year that Montalbo is losing a 2 straight game in the regulation, almost a full year about that. But now Montalbo is facing the top team. He showed about that, and we should be starting him this week for that one. Patrick, they are only starting him again. Our team usually is get 2 in the row, then he get the easy game. For Patrick, time the management to handle a goalie staff as real management people. The 3 goalie coalition is garbage for that one. Over there, RJ, Montreal should host an outdoor game at the Molson Stadium. He won't obviously draw 30,000-40,000, but the sit line in the winter with the Montreal in the background would be beautiful about that one there. Why the reason the Montreal don't get that kind of game?
So I think it's they're trying to hit different markets, right? Like I don't think it's strategically part of their marketing plan necessarily. There's, if Montreal will get a game, it won't be part of the Stadium Series. It's going to be more part of the Heritage Classic because they have different outdoor games, right? There's the Heritage Classic, which is usually Canadian games, and then you have the Stadium Series and everything else, right? So, yeah, it's not really high on the priority list. It's more of all these games are like marketing events, right? So
that's exactly what they are.
Yeah,
and they're trying to grow the game in some of the weaker markets, and obviously Montreal is not one of those.
Awesome. IDP does a great comments about the UPL goaltender for Buffalo Sabres. Was said about that. Question for you two: what do you think the ceiling of Montembeault as a goalie?
I don't know. I think it's good. I just question whether he'll be our number one goalie when we finally have gone through the rebuild and are in the playoffs. I think he'll be a very solid backup. And the hope is that somebody like Fowler will probably be the number one goalie. It might be too early for him, and so there'll be a transition period. But I'm not ready to anoint him the number one down the road. Right now, he definitely is, though.
In terms of his ceiling, like I think he can be the definition of a kind of like 1B, in the NHL, right? So the definition of what a number one goaltender in the NHL is evolving. We've talked about this all the time on the coach on the show, Coach, over the last couple of years. Is the goaltender position in the NHL is just weird now. Like there's not many true classic number one goalies that are playing plus 60 games a year, right? So it's just really so rare to see that. So I see him, he has the ceiling to be kind of these 2024 type number one goalies where, he can play 50 games per year, 55 games maybe. And, again, this year coming up here is going to be really kind of where he tells us what he's really going to be. Once this whole, kind of ménage à trois is finalized, and he's really going to be able to kind of like take on that role and not have this kind of like weird situation with having another goaltender on the roster, I think that's what will tell us kind of what his true ceiling is, right? Until we really see the run of games, but I think he has the potential. His ceiling is to be a modern day number one goaltender in the NHL, which means the main guy in a tandem, right, that plays most games in a tandem. That's kind of where I see him going. As to Enortap's point, whether that's going to be, kind of Fowler or another kind of prospect comes up, or if they trade for a goaltender, if that person turns out to be the guy, that brings us to the promised land, yet to be seen. It's hard to project that far down, but that's where I see a ceiling.
Great comments for both of you. I will say to you in our top when you said one B backup, yeah, is right there. When you talk about this, Marko, we said now a goaltender lead the load or really carry on the load is a 50 game, in my opinion, and more. The max he can get is 55 game. He's not the higher level. So it's like Adebak, Chesterkin, and those kind of goaltender, right? Is more that one. I'll be honest with you, I don't see him that level. I see him a little bit more between 40 to 45 game maximum per year. It reminds me the load of the Renta for the Carolina Hurricane. That kind of goaltender is going to be in NHL, in my opinion, where he can play solidly, but not at the point he can carry on the team to become the number one. So a B1, right? a big B1 and a 1B, a 2A and a 1B low for me. I don't see him to be the goaltender starter. Okay, 50 game, 55 game.
So I'm curious why you feel that way, Coach, because the reason Ranta and goalies like that maybe are in that range is because they have health issues, right? They're not very durable. Or then you have a Jake Allen who has proven time and time again that if you play him too much, then the quality goes down, right?
But that's my expectation with him. Because if you look about all his games he play, he has only 33% of all his starter game. He start again the best team when he perform at his best. For me, it's not about the stat; it's about the way he goes between the pipe. The most important thing, honestly, we have a little bit a sponge of his consistency. What easy right now compared was in the past because before last year or during the year, at some point he was not still the good goaltender he is right now. He really growing for the last 8-9 months. You have to go with Team Canada last year and then this year. But again, his inconsistency. For me, I don't see as a number one goaltender can be the goaltender.
We know that. I just don't see we just don't have the data yet, right? Like until he is really playing that 50 to 55 games, I've yet to see any. We haven't seen him get injured. He's been pretty consistent. Like I think Patrick was just pointing out, until just recently, he had never lost 2 games in a row. There's some positive things there, right? So again, would I be willing to bet my house on the fact that he's going to be that way? No, but I just don't think we have enough data, guys. Like, by this time next year, once we kind of figure out and get rid of this 3 goalie system, I think that will give us a lot better idea of kind of where he's trending. But we just don't have enough data.
We're starting to see that he's being given more responsibility, and as he said, he's playing more difficult teams as it goes down the line. But I mean, I just don't quite see it yet. I'm not saying that he might not reach it. He might very well, but at this point, I just see him as a very, very, very competent backup to what we should have as a number one goalie at this stage.
We shall see
about that. Sorry, we're going to move on. We have already 9:30. Okay, talk about the defense. Go with the goaltender. You're absolutely right about that one over there. Nicolas de Gobi-Bono, welcome back in the house. Thanks to be with our Canadian Live show. Look at Montembeault contract front load designed to be traded 2 years from now. About that, Patrick, Paul Giordano is a Mark dad who suddenly died 2 years ago. About that, sorry to hear that. About this, I have no clue about him, honestly. About that. What is Snyder, Marko and Enortap, or that play in the semifinal right now? Again, the Vel moves as 1 goal and 3 assists today, 1-0 about that so far. Awesome for you moves about this Vel. Anyway, we'll talk about this another time for Vel. Roger Collette, what do you think about Armia on power play, bumper position, smart move or not?
I think for the second unit power play, absolutely. I don't understand how he's not on the second power play unit right now. Like when, I don't know what Anderson they just keep putting him out there. The second unit power play coach, we might as when we're sending them out there, it's just waving the flag, right? Like at this point, like they're just not producing anything. I guess we're spoiled with that first unit power play, right? Because they're zipping the puck around so well. To me, like I almost wish they kept the first unit power play out there the whole time. But yeah, to me, Armia, in Martin St. Louis' press conference, he was saying about how nobody on the bench could argue with him putting him out there on the 6-on-5 because he was playing a good game. To me, Armia definitely has his place on the second unit power play with the personnel that you have right now. It's baffling to me that Tyler Pearson and Anderson continue to be out there, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if we look at the first line, obviously with the absence of Monahan at that bumper position, that's obviously the ideal person to have in that position. But Newhook's been doing a very good job.
Yeah.
It took a couple of reps before he actually got into that position. I thought initially when he was put in there, he wasn't quite creating that valve, that relief valve for the players if they got stuck with the puck. But he's been doing a much better job. And what I really like about that first line power play, and we'll probably get into it later on at some point, is the fact that it's not just the puck movement, it's also the player movement. And sometimes you'll see different people jumping into that bumper position. We've seen Slafkovsky there, we've seen Suzuki there, even though it's primarily Newhook. And that's what you want to see, because it really keeps the defense and the penalty killing unit on their toes.
The most underrated part, guys, for all of you who are criticizing Alex Burrows and wondering, when this power play was, guys, I think the Habs power play is now an 18th overall in the league. Like, that's a huge improvement over last year. To me, the most underrated part about why they've been so good in the last while is puck retrievals. To me, that's the most important part of a power play. Obviously, is because you're never going to have perfect control, but being able to win back those pucks, having an aggressive mindset like that, just because you have one additional guy on the ice doesn't mean that you have to stop working harder than the other team to get the puck back. So, Newhook is doing such a great job. Slafkovsky, we already know one of his superpowers of Slafkovsky is like takeaways and winning puck battles. But Newhook's done a really good job in that bumper spot, winning back pucks, saving pucks. So that's a really important part of the power play.
I think another reason I said that the movement of Suzuki to one side to another side, and the shift of the Caulfield Suzuki, and not only the puck movement, but the fact now the puck can come from only not from the top to the flanker, but now from the top to the goal line. So it come to be an umbrella to another rope that helping the Montreal Canadiens to open more spot to have a shot now, because the team does not do too much to know exactly what is going happening. So this is really that's fun between those stuff, like you mentioned about that for the power play for the Montreal Canadiens. A lot of people talk about Montembeault, everything like that. Gary Conway is in the house. Welcome back. And then, Patrick said that Montreal should not be 3 goaltender. What the reason behind that? Me have my own theory behind that. But what it will be the reason behind that? Why they never put Primo Laval or just gave up on Jake Allen? Why they not react quicker and faster, or they still waiting with 3 goaltender? Do you have a reason behind that or not?
Well, I think primarily they were caught in a bit of a precarious situation, right? Obviously, you don't want to send. At the beginning of the year, you didn't want to send somebody like Allen down, because it's not a great message for a veteran that's been around, and it's done. In all fairness, has done a decent job as a backup for Montreal over the years he's been here, and even last year and this year. And with Caden Primo, I guess they truly had some kind of insight that he'd be picked up on waivers, and they weren't quite ready to give up on him. You might say sometimes run the gamble and see, but why lose an asset when you don't have to? So they thought this could work, and for the most part, I mean, let's face it, it wasn't bad. The trio did work very well, but I've always had question marks around it, because I just think the goaltenders like that particular routine and that system that they get their mindset into. And it's disruptive when sometimes you might go an extended period of time and you haven't been playing to your overall game.
It was working a lot better until Montembeault started playing more, right? And there's other factors that came in, like there's the All-Star break, there was the bye week. So now you're having Allen and Primo that's just extending the amount of time that they haven't played. But I think overall, even though we're all critical of that and hopeful that it wouldn't be around forever, it's hard to argue that goaltending's been an issue for Montreal until Montembeault started playing. I think he played like 10 out of the last 15. There was a stretch where he just started playing a lot more. And that's when you started to see, Primo had a good performance. He wasn't really tested, obviously, against Anaheim. But, he had two bad starts there for a little while. And then Allen had a couple of really bad starts. So you're only really started to see the impact on the other two guys when Montembeault started playing more, which makes sense. But, Coach, to answer your question as to why they're doing this, if there's one thing we've learned about Kent Hughes, he does not like to lose assets for nothing. He is a greedy in a good way, right? But he is like a hoarder, right? Like, remember the show Hoarders? Like he's a hoarder when it comes to assets, right? He's like the Cookie Monster. Num 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 num. He wants to eat all the picks, eat all the prospects. Yeah, asset management. He doesn't like to lose anything. So he was pretty confident, like Enortap said, Primo was going to get picked off waivers. He's been very public. We know his philosophy when it comes to treating veterans with respect and not kind of putting them in an awkward position. I know a lot of people in the chat are going to say, wow, oh my God. These are professionals. You can't treat them like children. Like, is this a business? But guys, like any business, having a reputation is important. Relationships are important in business. So it's not to say that it's a good old boys club where, hey, they don't, Allen's a good guy, we don't want to make him look bad. No, it's still for business reasons why Hughes doesn't want to treat players like that. It makes sense from a business perspective because in the long run, it's going to help him sign unrestricted free agents and just overall maintain his good reputation along the league. So I don't buy this whole thing. I know some fans think that Montreal are suckers, or they are treating their players like prima donnas by not sending them down to Laval, but it makes sense from a business perspective. It makes sense.
Well said about that. Well, I would say one more thing for me. It's more about can use or you don't trade. If you trade a player, you want to be sure you have a guy can pick up his spot. So that's the most important thing.
So Montembeault didn't have a contract either. Yeah.
So if you trade Romanov, all right, when you trade Romanov, they knew they opened a spot for Goalie. They knew he can carry on the load for Goalie. Now, example, let's trade Jake Allen tonight. Now we have Primo and Montembeault, right? Now, if Primo get hurt the next game, or Montembeault get hurt, who's your goaltender now?
You're forced to bring somebody up. Yeah,
Daubaz,
that's what's
Daubaz and Primo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Coach, like I said,
so my point to you guys, everybody in the chat want to trade Mike Madison. Who would take a spot Mike Madison?
Okay, well let's save that debate, Coach. That's a whole other debate.
So my point behind that, right? The point behind that, you want to be sure you have always someone to pick up your spot, so they can move the team on the same level and not to go lower just because the benefit to open a spot. And that's all. You have to be sure you have some player can step over there. Until then, you're not going to see a trade for Savard and Madison or other player like them until they know they can have a player can pick up their spot.
Unless the return is too good. I still think that if the return is too good to pass up, then I think they would still do it. But Coach, like you said,
but you're not going to get a lot in return for David Savard, Mike Madison.
Well, I don't know. But that's a whole other topic. Yeah. But just to finish on the goaltending situation, though, Coach, Hughes has said this publicly, right? Like another reason that they didn't do anything at the beginning of the year is Montembeault didn't have a contract. right? So you can't really take the chance to trade Allen or Primo at the beginning of the year, because it gives Montembeault's camp all the leverage, in contract negotiations too, right? So if you're looking at why they decided to do this at the beginning of the season, let's not forget Montembeault didn't have a contract; it wasn't negotiated
No, my
yet.
point was
right.
why not you cannot do 2 months ago, 1 month ago, 3 months ago.
I think they would, a month ago, if they could trade Allen, they would do it. I don't think it's, they're hesitating on whether to do it or not. They're just waiting for the right trading partner to. So I don't 100% Kent Hughes wants to trade Jake Allen. I'm convinced of that. I don't think he's him or hawing about whether he should do it. It just he hasn't found the right deal. Probably teams are asking for retaining salary, or they're maybe even asking him to add another asset on top of that. So he's waiting for the right situation and the right partner.
All right.
And he's had a couple of offers, and I mean, one of them that I recall was a 7th, and I mean that's a bit insulting. So he was in no rush, and he knew that come trade deadline time, teams would get a little bit more desperate, and we're starting to see that now.
We're going to push guy the headline a little bit later, so if you don't mind, we're going to do the headlines, everybody, but the conversations come now left and right. They're good questions, so let's move on for that. It's a special weekly recap, so we're going to do it. Do you see Kirby Dach and the Habs picture down the road, even with his health struggle? For you, bring up that question at the end of the show yesterday. He's a little bit concerned about injury, Kirby Dach, but you see him and picture down in Enortap.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
In my headline.
He's
Kirby Dach is in my headline, though. So I really want to talk about that.
Okay, I'll keep it very short. Just if I'd have concern if the injury was a recurring one, then it's more problematic. But I mean, they're two separate types of injuries. I wouldn't be worried from what he had in Chicago and then what he had in the second game of the year this year. Yes, it was unfortunate that we lost him that early and for that amount of time. But as you can see, he's already skating around and is starting to look good, and he's projecting to do a good training this summer with weights and stuff. So he's going to be ready to go.
All right, Roger Colette ask a question for Marko. What is average one shot every 15 seconds of power play, true or false?
Yeah, I've some coaches have that philosophy, right? Like they expect they give the direction to their team. Some coaches say, okay, I don't want more than 2 consecutive passes before shot, or they want to see a shot after X amount of seconds. I don't think St. Louis has that much of a rigid guideline for his team. I don't think I really believe in such a rigid guideline as to kind of, okay, I don't want to see more than 2 passes before shot, or I want to see a shot within the first 15 seconds. I think from everything that we've heard and have noticed or observed about how St. Louis approaches coaching the game, he wants players to make reads. I think I like that philosophy. Yes, you can have concepts and you can tell your team, listen, like I want to emphasize more shots to the net. I want to have like a simple power play where we emphasize getting shots at the net and moving puck towards the net. But like anything else, coach, if I'm managing a team of people, whether it's in business or in sports, you want to trust your own people to make reads and make decisions, right? You don't want to be a manager that micromanages so much that you're taking away decisions from people that are experts or skilled in what they do, right? So I don't like that philosophy of demanding that your players follow such rigid rules on a power play. That's my opinion.
Yeah, the more regimented you make it, the worse the power play will be. You want that creativity element in there, as you said, Marko. You want to rely on their ability to capitalize and read the play as it's happening. So if that means you're going to get only 2 or 3 quality shots, I prefer that to 7, 8 shots that are from the periphery and you don't score on.
The NHL associate coach said 8 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. So 8 seconds is the answer of that one over there. I will say to you right, because they once said, look, we need to have a shot every 8 seconds. What they want to explain to the players, right? we try to shoot the puck and inside the 8 seconds because we want the puck movement. We have to puck move left and right, everything like that. We have a great, like you said, Marco, a great retrieval puck, right? And you have a rebound in front of net, and you feel good about your power play. You want to have a shot quicker, faster, better. And that would be an approximately 8 seconds for every shot. If you can go that direction, the power play will come to become more successful. Now they want to set a play. Hey, you have to have a shot every 8 seconds. But if you have 5 shots on the power play, they try to calculate those kind of movement on offensive. Now the 8 seconds, that's not when you go to break out. They don't set one at the neutral zone. They start when you are set up your formation of your power play and offensive zone. From that part, you want to have a shot every 8 seconds on the net. So it's calculated on the analytics stuff like that, but that's approximately the number they're looking for to be successful and the power play about that. The quality is one important thing. One thing Nick Suzuki, I a little bit disagree with him. He tried to get the perfect shot at only shot the net over there. I think sometimes you better to have not too much wait, but that's the patient. Nick Suzuki is always explained to the
but sometimes like one of my pet peeves, coach, is just sending a muffin on net. Like I don't know if I mentioned it in the chat yesterday, but the part that annoyed me the most for the 6-on-5 with the goalie pulled was that little muffin that Matheson threw towards the net with no traffic, right? Like, Suzuki wins like 2 faceoffs on the 6-on-5. Already you're pushing your luck, right? He's just won 2 faceoffs with the goalie pulled. So you're lucky. You've just won 2 faceoffs. You have possession, you're moving the puck around, and then you have this like little lazy floater, very low percentage shot. So to me, if you tell your team, yes, like, we want, obviously, we don't want to pass, like the expression I think is you don't want to pass the puck into the net, right? Sometimes overpassing is like, there's no shot. You're like looking for the perfect tic-tac-toe shot. But if you tell your players, listen, I on average, I want to see a shot this amount of time, then you're going to get things like what we saw with Matheson, where they're just putting it on net for no reason. And to me, that they're just kind of like killing the flow of the play. And then because again, winning pucks, even though we've been good at it, coach, it's not easy. There's a lot of variables. Like you're talking about, like, broken plays can go either way, right? Like you can either retrieve the puck, but they can easily just, especially when you have the goalie pulled, then they have, especially if you're killing a penalty and your goalie is pulled, they have a free shot at the open net. Unless you have the linesman that we had last game that doesn't remember that Montreal is on the power play at the end of the game.
Yeah, I was said to you sometimes the center is looking good when the face-off, but it's because of winger. And this is something we not analyze too much about this. Again, back on the 8-second guy, it's not that we said to the player, you have to have a shot 8 seconds. So they calculate the 8 seconds for the formation they have on the offensive. So the reason behind that is because they want to be sure the puck is on a movement about that. Come with the 8 seconds, they will give you an analytic data, the quality of the shot, where it's coming from, and what was the percentage to reset to have a goal with a screen, no screen, everything like that. So it's really deeper, but the average they're looking for is 8 seconds and NHL for the coaches. So we're going to move on. We have to welcome Randy Walkman, stop by, say hi to us. Thanks to be with our Canadiens Live show. We appreciate a lot. Primo did not break sweet again Anaheim. Would be in tandem with Mondebo and Allen would be traded. Primo would be in Laval for that one. Leon Renault, Caulfield like a dog on the bone power play, which is helping the power play about this one. I like that movement. I think the fact now, one asset of the power play for Toronto, in my opinion, it's not Austin Matthew's goal. It's a Mitch Marner moving the puck or Nylander move the puck. So when I said that, it's not passing. It's they move the puck. They carry on the puck from the left side to the right side, and it could be to another side. And the other players readjust with that about that. So for me, that's Caulfield does a lot on that one. And I'm going to tell you, and you're going to laugh at me, and people don't believe. When you're going to have Lane Hutson, it's going to be again 2 times more better because Madison is not a puck mover. Like when I said that, he's a puck distributor, but he's not a puck mover. A puck mover is the guy who can skate with the puck, he can move the puck left and right with his feet. Hutson, that's what exactly what Cole Caulfield does, and Lane, and then Mitch Marner and Nylander. So imagine this: you have two Cole Caulfield on the power play. That would spin the head of many PK on the NHL. That would be the quality of Lane Hutson.
Coach, I love this comment. Such a great comment from Leon here. That that's probably the most impressive thing. I've mentioned this a couple of times about Caulfield. Like, I love that people are noticing how Caulfield is a dog, on a bone, like out there, right? Like winning puck battles. Like he's like a different player, Coach. It's just like he's totally.
I would even go a step further, Marco, and just say not just on the power play, in general. He's been much more assertive, and he's been back checking a lot better. I'm really liking his game lately.
For sure. And Coach, you're right about Hutson. Like the word that I would use for him that's different from Matheson is his deception, right? Like when on the point, he's gonna, he has so many different looks that he's going to be able to give the power play. Just Matheson, he does everything. Like, he can make a difference with his foot speed, and that's sometimes Matheson makes really bad decisions and bad reads, but he can get away with it because his skating is so amazing, right? But Hutson will bring a whole new level because of the deception that he has with his side to side and how shifty he is. Like, it's going to bring a totally different element to the power play.
He can dance along that blue line for sure.
I think for you, so what should be the expectation Lane Hutson would have level about that? Let's keep that question the next couple of minutes. I heard people said Makar, but not me. That's way too high. Just give me a player you're looking for Lane Hutson. What kind of player he could be in the NHL?
I just say let him be Lane Hutson. Let him develop as his talent level allows him to.
No, it's not the point. The question in Enortap is what kind of player is going to look like in NHL. Like, Suzuki would be Suzuki, Yager would be Yager. But if people compare always a prospect, they would say that Connor Bedard could become a McDavid.
Well, if you want to make a comparison, I would put him along the lines of Quinn Hughes in terms of size, in terms of ability to move the puck, distribute it on the power play. He's able to be very deceptive as well with the puck. So I mean that's probably a better comparison than I think Makar. I think Makar is probably the next step up.
Agree. Yeah.
Any other players?
I don't know. There's not that many like that, Coach. To be honest, it's not like there's a ton of undersized defensemen like that.
I go with Adam Fox for me.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I think Adam Fox has a little bit more rounded game, I think, than Hutson has, and he's a little bit bigger. So I think Adam Fox can get away with a little bit more because he has more of a reach than both Quinn Hughes and Lane Hutson are going to have. But yeah, in terms of his ability to read plays and his deception and his offensive skills, I can see it, but it's hard to say, Coach. We need to. We're off. He has to be. We need to see him play some games here first. We'll see.
The reason I said Adam Fox for me is because Quinn Hughes is the next level. We're going to do a super chat from Patrick in a few seconds. Quinn Hughes, he become the Kel McCarr. That's the top there. And then after that, you don't have anybody after that, or maybe one. But Adam Fox is another tier below of them. That would be that would be the reach. I hope Lane Hutson can reach an NHL.
Well, I thought we were just talking style of player, not their overall production or anything like that. But to me, the closest style is Quinn Hughes for sure. As to how productive, how dependable he'll be playing in all situations. I don't know. We're like, certainly, we're all happy to see that Lane Hutson's been working on his overall game. Like we saw in the World Juniors, they were using him in all situations. So this is great. We're seeing good progress in his overall game, but we'll need to see that at the pro level to really have an understanding. But in terms of style, I think Quinn Hughes.
Here you go. Patrick Leblanc. Patrick Leblanc, super chat number one of the night. Thanks so much for your super chat. I don't know, in our top, maybe is the 10% of his bet of the week. He won. He gave us a back, Mr. On top, with our advice.
Possibly. I don't know if he won yesterday. Did you win, Patrick?
I don't know if he won. But, guys, we did a record about that one. The headline is at 10 o'clock tonight. We never tell to anybody. We try to keep the people in the chat. So we're going to go the headline of the show tonight. 3 headlines, one for each one of us. Talk about fun subject. We bring some subject. You guys in the chat, you give us a little bit what you think about the subject and keep that conversation going, move on in the chat. So let's start with the headline. Like we do usually, it's always been Marko, followed by Enortap and myself. 3 friend headline tonight. So usually we get close usually, but 3 different subject on the headline. I think that we create a lot of good conversation in the chat. And Mr. Enortap and Mr. Enortap, Marko, here we go.
Coach, you know that old expression, right? When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. That's I think it's a great philosophy. You're able to take a negative and try to turn it into a positive. Today, we saw a great press conference, great media availability for both Kirby Dach and Martin Saint-Louis. And what we learned today was really, really cool, in my opinion. I was really excited to read about it and see this press conference. What we learned today in this press conference, Coach, is that obviously, just for anybody who doesn't know, unfortunately, Kirby Dach, missed some time last year. Very unfortunate. And then this year, 4 periods into the season, gets season-ending knee injury and is gone for the whole season, right? So totally devastating. I had a headline several weeks ago where, to me, this was the biggest loss of the season for Montreal, was not being able to see, Newhook and Dach for a whole season, watch them develop so they can really get a sense of what they have and what they need in the rebuild and everything else, right? So, but today we learned that Martin Saint-Louis had what I think is a genius idea to not make this year completely lost for Kirby Dach. So what we learned, and this is so cool, guys, and I think you can also tie this into Cole Caulfield as well last year. So what we learned in this press conference is that since Kirby Dach obviously can't practice with the team and everything else, like I think all of us saw that he's been around for practices. He stayed in Montreal during his rehab. He's at all the games in the press box, and he's sometimes sitting on the bench during practice. But what we didn't know until today, Coach, is that Martin Saint-Louis has been actually inviting Kirby Dach every morning to join the coaching staff to do pre-scout meetings with him and the coaching staff. And Kirby Dach has been coming in early. And for those of you who don't know, Coach, you probably know, but coaches come in ridiculously early in the morning before all the other players, right, to review tape. Like, it's not like they just come in, half an hour before practice starts. They're in early in the morning. They have to kind of review all the tape, get everything ready, pick out all this stuff that they want to show the players, come up with a plan for practice and all that, right? So they're there super early. So what we learned is that Kirby Dach has been coming in the morning, sitting with the coaching staff. They're giving him homework to do pre-scouting stuff, and they're really relying on his opinion and asking him to bring insights and everything else. So again, I saw some comments on Twitter saying, oh my God, what a rookie mistake. Is Martin Saint-Louis relying on a 23-year-old to give him advice on how to coach a game? Like, guys, come on, let's be real. It's not like the coaching staff is relying on Kirby Dach, or he's part of the coaching staff, but it's just a great opportunity for them to keep him engaged in the process and develop his hockey mind. And there are probably advantages, like, the coaching staff have never played against some of these players. So they're using the advantage that Kirby Dach has been playing, has played against some of these teams. And it's giving him the opportunity to stay involved with the team, being able to get a totally different point of view on the game. And it's making sure that this year, even though, let's be honest, it's not ideal that he misses this whole year, but at least they're taking the time. And like Martin Saint-Louis has said before, right? Aggressively patient. We want to be aggressively patient with the time that we have. So they're making the best use of the time that they have with Kirby Dach, and at least getting him to contribute and to participate in the Montreal Canadiens season. He went further to say that Kirby Dach has kind of a unique ability on the team. Not every player has it in his DNA to be able to approach another player and give them feedback on their game, right? So I think Kirby Dach, we had heard a little bit about this earlier in the season, that Dach was giving feedback to Slafkovsky on little things that he was noticing. So Coach, and Enortap, I just find this is so smart, such a good way to like I said, make lemonade out of life giving you lemons. So I just really like this approach, and I wonder, maybe we didn't hear a ton about this, but like Caulfield, right? Like, we're seeing the impact this year, Caulfield being a more complete player. I'm wondering if we haven't heard anything, maybe in the background, saying we also used that time that Caulfield was away last year and was working with him there as well. Because same thing, remember, you saw Caulfield was always around the team, So the way that I tie this in, Coach, we were talking about this before we went on air, but watching the celebration for Jaromir Jagr, he was giving an interview, or he was doing play-by-play with the guys doing the play-by-play. And he was talking about how Sidney Crosby, right? Like, and him have that in common, that the best players in the world are the ones that are dedicated to improving every day. They're passionate about hockey. And what we're seeing with our core players here, like, you can say that we've heard that about Slafkovsky recently, right? Like, he's coachable, he's a sponge, he's always wanting to learn more. You see that Caulfield is dedicated to playing the right way. And now we're hearing another important piece of our core, Kirby Dach, is waking up. Again, Coach, he's rehabbing his knee. Like, that's in some players might just take a totally different approach. But for Kirby Dach, it was important for him to stay involved. I love this, Coach. Like, to me, that's why I didn't want to talk about the question before, but whether I think Dach is still going to be an impact even with his injuries. For me, when I see something like this, it raises my confidence level that this is a guy that you want to invest in. It's somebody who is totally invested in becoming a better person, a better hockey mind. So to me, people like that tend to do well in life, Coach. Like, the more you work hard at something, the more that you're dedicated, the more you increase your chances at succeeding. So very impressed by this. I don't know if you guys saw the press conference, but I'm very curious to see what you guys think about what we learned today.
I couldn't agree with you more, Marco. I think that, to me, what St. Louis did is a true sign of a leader, right? You want the most out of your employees. What do? You empower them. You entrust them with certain responsibilities. It doesn't mean that you lack them yourself as a leader. You're just showing that this is a team concept. It's a perspective that you want to hear from everybody before you make that final decision. And you might have your mind made up from the beginning anyways, but you want to get that feedback, because it makes your decision then that much more encouraging when you need to make it. So I think it does great benefit for Dach as well, because it keeps him active. This guy is motivated, no doubt about it. He is leadership material. He has a bit of a chip on his shoulder from his Chicago days, because I think in his eyes he wasn't treated the way he should have been, and he's seen that here in Montreal he's getting that responsibility, albeit in a short sample size. But I definitely agree with what he's done. It doesn't surprise me in the least. And I think that our next step, which will probably lead into my headline later on, is we're starting to build on that second line.
Great point about that. I will just add for Marco. Remember, like some point the beginning of the season or summertime, they would ask Doc to become a leader for the young player,
Yeah.
like a role model for the youngest one in the team. And this is a characteristic we did not talk too much about Kirby Dach. He bring on the table. So you would like to have a guy like this around him and around the team. And look, he's not the only one as a hockey player. Talk to the coaches, talk about system, talk about different ideas. And as a coach, you always open up to get feedback from your players and to look about those options. And I think this for me is a great example of who is really Kirby Dach.
But Coach, this is the first time I've ever heard of a player who's on long-term injury reserve rehabbing that is invited by the coaching staff to join them every day in pre-scouting meetings. Like it's, yeah, of course, like coaches, a good coach is always asking their leadership group to get a feel for the room, make sure that, that they're all aligned so that the players can transmit the message that the coach wants and all that stuff. Right. But to me, this is a whole other level, right? Like it's almost like you're assigning, sometimes you see maybe like you give like a backup goalie the responsibility to track like shots on net or something, like, it's just keeping players engaged. And it's just such a good way. They want Kirby Dach they don't want this year to be totally lost. Right. So to me, it just shows that the development team, it's just an out of the box way of thinking, a way to get somebody to continue their development, even though they can't play on the ice. You're still exercising his brain, getting him to view things. And Kirby, if you listen to Kirby Dach himself, he's like, it's a totally different perspective when you're sitting in on these meetings, because as a player, you're coming in and you're listening to what the coaches say, but you don't realize how much work went into doing that presentation, like all the other clips that that they had to watch and how they came to the conclusion of this is why we want to play that way, So it just exposes him to all the background work that goes into what the other players are seeing. And when he's back as part of the team, he's just going to be such a huge asset because he's going to be able to be such a strong advocate for what the coaching staff and the management team want out of the core group, right? So just a brilliant move, man. I'm really excited and what a great move by the Habs PR team to decide to come out and communicate this too, right? Like,
exactly.
Really, really good. Yeah.
It's good for the fan base, but since we're talking about lemonade here, it's a great thirst quencher for everybody to see that he's he's in line, because otherwise it would be a long summer for him as well. So for Doc, it also builds that incentive to want to get on the ice a lot quicker at some point, and hopefully be ready to go by October.
Great point about that. For sure, I appreciate a lot, Lemonade. Maybe Enortap want to do some other kind of the juice tonight, but we'll see. Is at line, but I think he target more the Sesame Street, Marco.
Yes.
Stand by me.
Yeah,
and really here.
John Lennon just called, Mr. Enortap. John Lennon just called to know more about the song "Stand by Me." About that, is it the one sing the song, Mr. Marco? "Stand by Me"?
No, that's Imagine. But yeah.
Stand by me.
There we go. Unfortunately. Anyway, Marco Enortap, he told me that. Marco, look, it's not me at all. Marco said, Enortap said, a big bird, he looked like Marco. So I said, look.
There's a lot more hair than I do, though. But
use your 6'4" behind that.
All his idea.
That's the reason behind that, Marco.
No, I like this. I think interesting comparison here for sure. I can see the different demographics portrayed in this picture. Okay.
Maybe you guys should talk about this headline. Well, look, you know what? It's been a while. We anticipated right from the draft, right? That Slafkovsky at some point would be the man on that first line, and he built his way to that point. Here he is today. The three of them have shown, in my eyes, over the last, I'd say, at least 26 games that they belong together right now, and they're making a great unit together. You can tell one is a sniper, obviously one is a driver, one is the playmaker, and those are three necessary ingredients. But they're not specialized only in that area, right? Like they can easily, as we're seeing with Caulfield, he's extending his game to a better checking game. With the creativity of Suzuki, he's definitely answering a lot of critics that, number one, is he a first line center? And number two, can he produce at a point per game? If that's your barometer for success for a first center, I mean, you can go off tangent on that point alone. But for me, what we're seeing out of Slafkovsky is the progression, the development that's been in place, and you have a guy here that's to steal that same analogy, is thirsty to learn more every single game. Like, this guy goes to practices early, he stays late, and he works on skill after skill until he feels that there's satisfaction in what he's doing. And we saw yesterday, with the dying seconds there, when he missed that opportunity because the puck was stopped, and even he slammed the stick. Some might say, well, learn to lose. I would say no. That shows that he's got emotion, that he wants to be a winner, and that he wants to raise his game to the level that he has to achieve that. And he said that even after during the press meeting, that it's up to him. He saw that there was a defenseman there, and the puck hit him. I think that was a bit it was a bit prepped for him, and he realized, maybe I should have done a better job of delivering that puck. The onus is on me. So he's accepting the responsibility of having to do that, even though, for the most part, he did the same thing. What's interesting is that we know how much potential these guys have, but they're also organizing themselves to achieve a higher potential down the road. And what it's doing is slowly starting to set up that second line. And you say it starts with Dach, and what we put on the wings. Could it be the draft pick that we select this year with our first pick? Could it be somebody like Newhook that's on the wing instead of center? I think he's more suited on the wing as well. Time will tell. This wasn't something that happened instantaneously. It took time. And look at their ice time yesterday in that game. Suzuki had, I think, 23 minutes. Caulfield had 24. Slafkovsky had, I think, almost 24. It was about 23 and a half. For me, they're the young players, the young Canadiens that we're enjoying the way they're playing right now. And if they keep the same philosophy, that it's about the attitude that they bring to the game, the exemplary attitude, then they're going to continue to improve. And this is what we define as the culture of the team. And we're witnessing this in real time now. And it's exciting to see it happen. Are we losing? Yeah, we're losing more than we are winning. But right now, that shouldn't be our gauge. We knew that a rebuild would be a bit messy. We did some of the cleaning up that we needed to do. There's still a long way to go, I feel, but at least the pieces are starting to come together. It's like building a 500-piece puzzle, and you finally build around the frame, and it seems to be, you seem to see a definition coming about in that puzzle, and that's what I feel here. And these three guys enjoy playing with each other, and that's why I brought up the picture of Bert and Ernie, and of course, Big Bird.
So Enortap, okay, so By the way, some of the comments in the chat, I was having problems staying serious because there's some great comments in the chat. AK asking like, I wonder whose hands are up their bottom making them talk because they're Muppets. That's a good one. And Miss Piggy had a nice backside from Patrick. So great comments. I know I can tell all of you guys are Jim Henson fans. So that's awesome. So
Absolutely.
if Slafkovsky is Slafkovsky is Big Bird. I'm assuming that Suzuki is Bert and Ernie is Caulfield because he's the smallest.
Yeah.
So is Oscar like Oscar the Grouch is Gallagher, I guess, or I don't know. So it would be Coach. Maybe
you're
that's
taking it too deep, Marko.
Yeah, we could do like which Habs players are which Jim Henson Muppets, but yeah. So to your point, Enortap, like we've been talking a lot about this a lot, and with good reason. Like it's probably the most exciting thing. Like I think our show on Wednesday, you had a balloon. I almost got pom poms because we're so excited. We're talking about this is probably the best first line that the Montreal Canadiens have had in over 30 years, right? Like it's so really exciting times. I think the best way that I put it so far is Slafkovsky, I think, was designed in a laboratory somewhere to play on this line, right? Like it's almost like they found DNA. Ken Hughes is working with scientists, and he just knew that they had to grow somebody like this in a lab in order to be the perfect complement.
Super chat.
I don't know. I'm excited about the super chat, Coach, but yeah. So just really exciting. So now, yeah, like the puzzle pieces. Enortap, we've talked about this a couple times. Like there's a couple of like stages to rebuild, right? There's the asset collection phase and the roster construction phase. And I've been talking about this for like a year, but in one of Kent Hughes's interviews recently, I was excited. He almost used my words word for word. He talked about the first phase, which is asset collection, and then building the roster after that. So I was all excited. It's almost like he's been watching our show, and I was pretty excited. So now we're into the second phase here after this year's draft, where we're going to really start building the roster. And that job is made all the more easier because the biggest piece, or one of the biggest pieces of the puzzle, your first line, to me, that's locked in, Coach. Like I've heard people talk about, do you put Slafkovsky with Dach next year? Why, guys? Like we finally have something that's working well. Again, things could change. It's not like they'll play together every single game for the rest of their lives, but we have a combination here, I think, that works. So now it's really just a matter of filling out that second line with players that are going to complement Dach. Is Newhook a solution? Maybe, but I see him. I think it would be great to have him on the third line. But Coach, you've been pretty vocal about it. Finding two wingers for that second line, I think would be ideal. A right shot guy that can play there, because I think it's clear that we have a lot of right-handed wingers, but none of them are set to really play on your second line. Anderson can't play there. Gallagher can't play there. Armia, I think we were happier seeing him on the third line, maybe than the second line. So you're looking for a right-hand shot to play with Dach, and then a left-hand, kind of guy that can play up there too. So those are probably,
and in a way, Marko, in a way, it is becoming a bit of an urgent issue to start thinking towards that second line, because as this line continues to do well, teams are not stupid, right? They prep properly. It's going to be harder and harder for them to produce at the pace that they have been in the last 30 games or so. And who knows? Like maybe depending on where they pick this year, if it's a really low pick and they get somebody that can fill the wing, and maybe Roy is ready to accept a second line winger position, that could be your second line right there. You'll have good size, and you'll have good scoring ability.
I thought about making a headline about Roy. I don't know if we'll have the opportunity to talk about him later, Coach, but the more that I see him play, the more I wonder if they're just better keeping him up. Like at first, I was kind of the opinion that, it wasn't part of the plan this year. Just keep him down in Laval. But you know how Saint Louis usually talks about if you're just playing, if you're playing in the NHL and you're just surviving, then it's not worth for you to be there, right? But I don't see him just surviving. I see every game. Has he been perfect? No. Like there's been games where he's been more
No.
impactful and more visible than others. But I don't see him just surviving right now. I see that he's right there. He's winning battles. He's making good reads. He's getting good touches. I just don't see any good reason to send him down. And so sometimes, you can change your mind. Like I've been very excited to see Roy play, and I was hoping that we'd see him a little bit. But in a way, I was kind of against rushing, bringing him up. But now I don't know how much value there is. Like I know going to Laval will be good. He'll get some experience in the playoffs, and if they make the playoffs.
The only
But I don't know,
problem
like-
is sending Yolanen down, right? Because of the waiver he has to go through. That's the only issue.
Yeah, maybe. But who's
But
coming
who they
back?
have
That's
to
going.
call, right now he's fine. We don't have anybody to call back up, right? You think if Harris coming, they're not going to bring a forward down?
No.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. Like you guys know how I feel about Yolonen. Like I know you guys aren't ready to give up on him, but to me, I would just make a priority of like just trade Yolonen for I've talked about. I think in the last show, my idea was trade Yolonen for an AHL veteran that can go help Laval. So that way you can keep Roy. You're still giving Laval a good asset to help them on their playoff run because we do want them to do well. Go get like a career AHL guy. You can throw a whole bunch of names out there, right? Like a Patan, like a Patan kind of guy that's a career AHL player. Go get somebody to help Laval. You clear up a roster spot. You clear up somebody with just an AHL contract too, so that way you're not eating up an actual 50 contract.
Yeah.
That would be my move.
He did it again, Roger! Roger Delaney!
Roger the Master.
Yeah, exactly. We want to welcome Run with Kings, Danny, both of them moderator of the Hockey Nation Show. Thanks, both of you stopped by tonight. And Rabinoff is in the house. Welcome back, and Rabinoff. Hook, he is in the house tonight. Franco knocked the door tonight, and AK is in the house. I think I did not forget anybody else. If I forget one of you, I apologize. It's not my intention to do that. Great comment for all of you guys for that. For me, I will keep Joshua Marko, like you said, and then move someone else. But my headline of the night for me, guys, is the ad culture. And I was going to make a video about Juraj Slafkovsky, about that. Montreal Canadiens, when they draft for players, we talk about the skill, and then we talk about the talent. But since Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon are there, they really pay attention of the culture of the Montreal Canadiens. They start with them, and then after that, they contribute that culture to the staff with Martin St. Louis. And that's after that they move on this to the players, and they really pay attention they really pay attention who they select as a player, draft the players too, and who is in part of this Montreal Canadiens organization as a players. And for me, they go beyond about everything. I will give you an example. Juraj Slafkovsky. If you follow each one of them they have right now with Montreal Canadiens, they really they do the homework. They not only draft the player because they believe he could be a good hockey player. They really want the player to become a part of something special in Montreal, about the culture. Slafkovsky left the building, guys, at 14 years old. cook by himself at 15 years old, stay alone in another country to survive, to become a better hockey player. So, Slafkovsky go through play with men at young age. Slafkovsky play represent his country at the Olympics. Slafkovsky, after that, went to the World Championship with Thomas Tatar and the rest to represent his team over there. Slafkovsky become a first overall pick by the Montreal Canadiens 2022. And we know, like Toronto and Montreal, the media, the pressure, the adversity, the challenge, all already at 19 years old, what Juraj Slafkovsky faced already as a human being. This is an experience you cannot buy at the store. This is something you have to go through that. And he have an amazing, great maturity. He have an amazing, great responsibility of what he accomplished. And he is a great work ethic. He is one always to learn something. His reaction after the game last night, after the game when he slammed the board, he was angry about he missed the net, right? His F-bomb after at the press conference yesterday showed one thing for me: his desire to become a better hockey player. This, it cannot teach those DNA to the players. He have to come from them, and that's what is Slafkovsky. But what's the point behind that? But let's move on with Caden Coley. Caden Coley was the first overall pick in WHL at 16 years old. Look, his first year, Coley was not very good. He struggled many times at the point where a lot of people was demanding if he was worth it. It's not the same level like the NHL. Imagine NHL, what the pressure of Slafkovsky last year he go through. A lot of bad days on his life. He go through that. Look, he look like today. My point back to Goalie, he become a captain for his team, a leader inside his team. He carry on that. He become a great asset for the Team Canada. He become a great hockey player and the WHL with the Brain Salzburg before he got traded to Edmonton Oilers. Let's go back to Jaden Strouble. Same situation with the Northeastern. Let's go back with Jordan Harris. Same situation. Both of them captain of their team at some point behind that. Look what he tried to accomplish right now with Kirby Dach. He said, well, because Dach is not like, he did not pro in the stat. But look his adversity. You got drafted overall pick. Look, the people was put him down because he cannot play. And he did not perform very well at the beginning with Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews. Look, we have to carry on those kind of difficulties, a challenge during the time to prove everybody is wrong. This is a kind of maturity you don't get right away. You have to go through adversity. This is the culture Montreal Canadiens they carry on. You can go with Jacky. Same situation with Jacky. He never be drafted before that. Look, all the door he's go. What behind that? What's the point behind that? For me, is this what the Montreal want to build? The players have a lot of responsibility on their plate. They are mature also. They are great work ethic. They want to become better. And then it's all because of the work ethic they have inside of them. And you put this all together at the same locker room, they all go at the war. They all buy in. They are all in. And that make a team better inside of any other team because they believe at what they all got sold by the organization from the top for Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon to the staff manager, for the staff coaching, for Martin St. Louis, Burroughs, and Robidas, and for other people walk around the team. Check Chandal Maccabi, look about Adam Nicola, and all the tools they have in front of them with Christian Boucher and his two assistants on the analytics, look the video coach, and I can go all the way. They have all the same words inside of their mind, and they're all going to buy it for what they bring on the table, Jeff Gordon and Kenyon. For me today, I was just sharing another part of what the Montreal Canadiens are building, and without that foundation, you're not going to have a great day. That's a guarantee, guys, the Stanley Cup. Not at all. But the last 2 weeks, all of us, we are Montreal Canadiens fans, you enjoy what you see for the first line. You get excited for what you see for the last couple of days. Many of us fire Alex Burroughs, Martin St. Louis, Pobrov, and many others, trade many of them because they don't believe of the Montreal Canadiens. What I want to finish with that part, guys, You have no roadmap, like I said, my last headline to develop a player. It's not guaranteed Slafkovsky is going to become a rent tenant in NHL. It's maybe he's going to become another Terry Hopper. Who knows at the end of the day? But my point behind that, it's you don't know yet what Lane Hutson is going to be one day. You don't know what Engstrom, Logan Mailloux is going to become in NHL. But enjoy the small victories on Montreal Canadiens, and of course, keep in mind to not be too much negative. I believe of what we have. I think for me, they are excellent management for the Montreal Canadiens. Are they going to make mistake like anybody? Are they going to guarantee Stanley Cup to win? Not at all. But I'm sure Montreal Canadiens are going to be one of the top best franchise in NHL. By the way, I see them developing for the last 2 years. Management, coaching, and the player. So this is my headline of my night.
So, Coach, a couple things there. But guys, let's be fair, right? 80% of the players that you just mentioned there are from the Marc Bergevin, Trevor Timmins era, right? So that is one thing that's been consistent. Like you can be critical, obviously, Kotkaniemi over Tkachuk, and some other. Probably that's the biggest move or the biggest mistake that the Bergevin Timmins era in terms of drafting. But we heard Marc Bergevin talk about that a lot, right? Like it was almost like a cliche, right? Like character was like one of the most important things that Trevor Timmins and Marc Bergevin look for. So in a way, that's something that's been very consistent across both management teams, right? Like they definitely both prioritize character, right? So Goalie and all the guys that you mentioned, Struble, those are all Bergevin and Trevor Timmins draft picks. So just an honorable mention, that yes, a lot of the core players that are there right now are from that management era, right? So just wanted to mention that. Second thing, Coach, and I'm wondering if your headline is inspired by the same Twitter threads that I saw, but on Twitter over the last couple of days, there's been a lot of what I would call mea culpas. People admitting they were wrong about Slafkovsky, right? And a lot of whether they're Habs fans that were just, completely all over, the management team about the decision to, bring him, not have him play in the SHL last year, or he should have played in Laval, or at the beginning of the year, whether they thought he was a good pick or not, or if they were really doubting his development earlier on. There's a lot of mea culpa in the last week or so on Habs Twitter, but then also overall hockey Twitter. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, I forget who, I think her name is Rachel Dory or something like that. She has this podcast, and she said something like Slafkovsky on a good team is going to be a third line forward, right? And then the Habs Twitter or the Habs Reddit account went bananas on them, and it started this whole thing. By the way, that I don't know, Coach, I don't know if you follow that Habs Reddit account, but my God, man, like they're bipolar. Those guys, sometimes they're good, but sometimes they're just really, really mean. Like, I don't know if whoever's managing that Reddit account, like, chill, man. Like we don't represent Habs fans as these rabid maniacs. That, anyways, whole other story. But Coach, I don't know if your headline was inspired by that, but a lot of the people that were really, really critical at Habs management are now recognizing that exactly what you're saying, right? Like, they and maybe some of the people are even saying, you know what, based on how successful Slafkovsky, how successful the team has been at developing Slafkovsky, they're actually maybe even changing their minds a little bit about Reinbacher, because if they can, improve Slafkovsky to the extent that they have, it increases your confidence level of what they're going to be able to do with Reinbacher. Because believe me, that's a whole other conversation too, right? Still, people are still mad. Michkov versus Reinbacher. And, Reinbacher, there's definitely been some things you can look at in his development this year that don't look amazing. But this is what happens, right? When you have success, guys, like people are seeing how good of a job they've done developing and improving Slafkovsky. that it's even spreading and giving goodwill or faith. The word faith is I'm using that very key in a key way. You know, Habs fans can have a little bit more faith that they're going to do the right thing in the future with developing their players. So I think you're right.
Great point.
But the
Before
other,
Enortap, I just want to add
yeah,
something there, if you don't mind.
yeah, go ahead.
It's just like I should add also Ray Barker and all of that. One he traveled 1 hour 90 minutes every time to go to the practice, come back home with his dad. He faced one out for adversity during the year this year, and before that he was leave alone also to develop his hockey when he was a young age. If you look about Vincent Rohrer, same situation with him. For Vincent Rohrer, left his country, play and with his friend Marco Rossi, follow the step of Marco Rossi, went to the OHL, now is a SHL. About that, again, a bigger role for him. And then I can go with Lane Hutson. Since he's 6 years old, he's going to be small all his life. Look, Cole Caulfield, he was been small all his life. Yes, they are draft for some of them for the management before in the past. But my point behind that, those kind of play like that, because their past make them better today and just fill up with more fuel from the management they have right now for the Montreal Canadiens. So I just want to open the door about that one, Marco. But you're absolutely right. Some of them are coming from Marc Bergevin draft at some point for sure. One of them is Logan Mailloux, by the way. So sorry about that, Marco.
Yeah, no, I was gonna agree with that, Coach. Exactly what you're saying. I think what you're trying to point out is also the fact that these players that they're drafting, they're doing a lot of research on these players, and they're trying to see what type of character they have. I mean, to look at the stats and say this guy was an 80 to 100 point scorer in the minors, and that should translate to the NHL. It doesn't always happen. We've seen it many times in history. But one thing that doesn't change and will always be transitioned well is the person's character. And that's what we're starting to see in some of these players. And if you look at some of these ones that have been drafted in the last year or two, you're starting to see a common denominator there, and that's that character element. Like you look at somebody like Fowler and Reinbacher, and while Milo was under Bergevin, of course, but they're exemplifying that type of character, and I think that's so underestimated and so under evaluated in hockey that it only holds them to higher esteem that they're going that extra mile to try to get that kind of player, and their background in terms of where they came from and what they've achieved in order to get to where they are at is what determines that character.
Well said about that. Marco, you want to add something before we move on?
Again, Coach, anybody who answers tiger as which animal you are should be automatically disqualified, right? Because it's too easy of an answer. So unfortunately, you'd have been flagged in my questionnaire if you answered tiger, because it's the most common answer. So
it's all good. I don't want to give you my other option I have in front of for me to be other the tiger. About that one. Then maybe I heard on this for Michel Bergerin and Michel Bergerin, the Bergie, in the past. But we have to move on. What we got, guys, we can talk about the game, the record of 1-2-0, guys. We talk about the first game and the weekend. So we're going to skip that part if you normally we have about 15, 20 minutes. So I think I would like to go a little bit more deeper in the chat. A lot of great people in the chat. Tom Quincy is talking. Great comments about everybody. We appreciate a lot. I would turn around that question not only for one game recap, but give us a bit that stood out, not the players maybe, or could be the stood out of the week, like 1-2 minutes for each one of you. I think they deserve to have some kind of applause for that. So, Marco, we'll start with you. What is your stood out of the week?
To me, Coach, it's the power play. It's hard to single out one single player. But it's for me, the thing that stood out is, if you look at just the overall percentage, it's good, but not amazing, right? But I'd say probably about like 85% of their power plays the first unit anyways, not this, like, we won't talk about the second unit because that's a whole different thing, right? But the first unit, like I can, to be honest, I can only think maybe of 3 maybe power plays where the first unit wasn't zipping it around. And even since Monahan left, because the key thing is when they win the face-off, they're able to get control right away and start moving it around. So the face-offs haven't been as good without Monahan. So, but even then, like their entries could be a little bit better. But man, when they get in the zone, like this is probably the best Habs power play I've seen since like Sheldon Surrey, Mark Streit kind of era. Like with Kovalev and those kind of guys. So it's been a long time. It's been at least like 5 years that we've had a decent power play that wasn't in the at least bottom 3 in the league. So to me, that's really what's kind of what stood out. Like with a good power play, you're really giving yourself a chance every game to maybe add at least 1 goal per game. So to me, that's kind of really what stood out. We've talked in length about overall the first line. I think it's impossible to say which one out of, like, I think they're all 3 of them are contributing very equally. Like I guess one thing that stands out to me too is how they're defying expectations a little bit too, right? Because now Suzuki is like leading Montreal in goals. Who would have guessed that Suzuki would be the one with the most goals going into the season? Obviously, everybody thought Caulfield would be. So so to me, the whole first line, it's hard to pick one of them, right? And then when you extend that to the power play unit, to me, that's what stands out.
Enortap.
Yeah. Well,
He
you
said Big
focused on
Bird,
some of the.
Marco. He said Big Bird.
For me, what stood out really, and I'll take it a bit on a different tangent instead of looking at the positives, because I think what you said was correct, Marco. And Luke always accuses me of having those rosy lenses on all the time. So I'm going to go a little bit negative, and not negative as a bad thing, but as an area to improve in. It's more of a critical evaluation, and by that I'm looking at consistency. I'm looking at these games that they played this week, the 3 games. The Anaheim game was the Anaheim game, but I'm looking at the Rangers and Washington. I thought at the very least the Washington game should have translated to a victory. And what you're noticing in a lot of these games is they're not playing 60 minutes all game long, and that's the area I think that they have to focus in on. I understand that they have a young squad, and sometimes the notion is, well, they just scored and it's 5-2 right now, and either throw in the towel or whatever the case might be, and that goes against what St. Louis is trying to establish on the team. And for the most part, they maintained it, but you see those hints from time to time, and it's something that they need to work on. Just like they kept working on their power play and their penalty kill still is an issue to look at as well. But it isn't absolutely horrible. It's just I think it's more a personnel issue than anything for that.
I think the big thing that he was the big thing he was talking about at practice today is, and I think even who was it that was talking about it? I think it might have been, I forget. There was one of the players that brought it up. Oh, it was Jackie's interview in the press conference. He was saying that, and if you look at the last, probably almost all the goals they've allowed, is they're not picking up sticks. Like, so Martin St. Louis calls it about, we're in the right place. You're not seeing a lot of like odd man rushes. Sometimes, yeah, there you go. Oh, nice. So you're not seeing as many, not a huge amount of breakdowns. Like the guys are in the right position a lot of the time, but like even Savard, I think it was Stefan Waite on RDS had a whole pack on this on Friday about how Savard, I think it was against the Rangers, Savard tends to try to block a shot rather than be close to the guy and take his stick so that they can't tip it. So the amount of goals that we've seen that were tip-ins or kind of like rebound goals where the Habs defenseman, or I think Evans, was one goal against the Rangers where he was in front of the net and he was standing next. He's right there. He's standing right next to the guy, but just doesn't.
I think it's against Manta.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that was against the Rangers as well. Yeah, they lose sight sometimes. As soon as a mistake is made, they kind of lose sight rather than trying to just pick up anybody that's in the danger area right away. And that's been the issue, right? Like we saw yesterday, I didn't think any of the defensemen really stood out in my eyes in that game against Washington. I think they all made mistakes. There were good parts to each of their games as well, but they were far and few in comparison to some of the blunders that they were making. And that's what I mean by the consistency. They have to really work at that. And I understand defense is probably going to take the longest to develop properly. And it will take time, but you have to work hard at it. And they're going to have to pick it up in that area as well. And I think one thing that will help is the level of competition at that level. And as more of the prospects keep coming up and pushing the ones that are on the team, it's either you're going to meet those expectations or you're going to find yourself on the outs.
I think St. Louis, though, talks about that a lot on Enortap. Like, you hear that a lot, right? Like, we need to play a full 60 minutes, right? But it's pretty rare, even like, elite teams in the NHL, it's rare that you're going to play a perfect game, right? So I think it's being able to, the thing that really kills Montreal, like look at the last game, right? Like it was like 4 goals, that happened really quickly in like 5 minutes or something like that, right? So it's being able to not let the big momentum switches in a game overwhelm you, right? It's to be able to wrangle back control and not kind of like allow huge runs of play against you so you lose control of the game, right? There's going to be lapses, and there's it's a game of mistakes is the cliche, right? But it's not allowing like long stretches of the game to kind of like where you lose control. I think that's where they kind of want to end up going.
A great point for all of you about that. I have to go with Slafkovsky for this. I think he was the one regular have most points on the week around each game, in my opinion. And I think he's a little bit more the playmaker during the week. Distribute the puck more and more around. He have a goal, of course, a couple of goals, but for me, it was more the way he's involved in the game. So you have a bad game for Nick Suzuki. Why you have a bad game? You have 1 point, but now he was not too involved. They have a Caulfield, 1 game, no point. But overall, for the week, if you calculate 3, he has the power play. But Slafkovsky, everything is going on around here. And he did not do a goal last night on that play, but at the first period, he did a move at the blue line he would never do, like in the last 6 weeks. Like he go around the player like nobody. There he used his strength of his arm to have a second going around the player. He did twice to move the puck around 2 players. So this call for me is he believe right now. He have confidence about himself, and nothing is. He have no doubt on his mind. He can do anything he wants to accomplish right now. So it's a new Slafkovsky, but again, I have to give him my stood out of the player of the week. Great comments in the chat. We want to welcome back Buzz. The Angola is in the house. John, you is in the house. Both of you, don't forget, guys, to click on the like. We're missing about 1 or 2 likes to get a 40. Tonight. So that will be my out player, guys. I'm going to carry on very quickly. I don't want to give you too much time. Montreal Canadiens week's news of the week, guys. You have Gallagher back in the lineup. If you see a number 11, that's Gallagher. Play on the 4 line for the Montreal Canadiens. Bring him at the end of the game. Last game by Martin St. Louis on the 3rd line for on that one over there. Briefly. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't like the line the Montreal has right now. New Hook, he does really well the last game, but prior to that, did not have chemistry with Arwet and Armia. And prior to
I don't
that,
know.
Evans scored goal, but last game did not very well with Pearson. And I feel like every line, one player does not do a great job overall. I think Pearson should be removed at that line and bring Gallagher with Anderson and Jake Evans and bring Pearson on the front line. That's only most the line you can move about that. They are not stuck. I would keep anyway New Hook, Armia, and Roy together. And Gignac, I think we don't talk enough about Gignac right now.
Gignac's doing well.
It does not, for me, it does not make the team and the bad situation overall. It's not perfect, but I like what he bring on the table right now. I don't feel like he's, like you said, Marco,
Speed.
about who, try to survive right now. He deserves to play what he is right now with Montreal. I think so.
And it's his speed and creativity. Like, that's going to create opportunities all the time. And, it doesn't matter if you're on the third or the fourth line. He's well suited for it, and he's going to get his fair share of opportunities.
I don't mind that New Hook line at all.
Go ahead, Marco.
I don't mind that New Hook line. I think they haven't been as consistent, obviously, as the first line, but they're the second line. Like, some people are calling the Evans line the second line. That line is killing me. Like, I can't. Like, that was really, really bad last game. That Evans line was killing me last game. And there's no great solutions. Like, I guess you try Gallagher, but Gallagher hasn't looked very good either. Question for me, guys, this might open up a can of worms here, but is it time to sit Josh Anderson for a game? Honestly,
no, but put him on the four line.
Yeah, like maybe, because to me, that line with Evans and with Pearson, it needs more speed. And Anderson, yes, he can play fast. Like, he's a fast skater and everything, but there's something not working with that line. Like,
well, it's something doesn't work with Josh Anderson, first of all, Marco. It's not only the line, it's himself. Yeah, something bother him. I don't know, is injury. Something is live right now. It's not looking good. So, we don't know all the stuff like that, but you're absolutely right for that one over there for this. I want to mention Dach is skating right now. Iris almost back now. We'll see what will be the next move from Martin Saint-Louis. 3 games for the Montreal Canadiens this week. We'll see. Kirby Dach. We'll see if he can return. I think it would be just prove himself. He beat about that, but I think not sure it would be the right things to do.
I hope not.
No, it's the wrong thing to do. Absolutely.
A lot of people talk about Gignac, about this one over there. That's a great thing about this. Look, we could talk about the first line. We talk a lot about the first line. We'll skip this for the next time. I think it would be better for other things. Milestone, this was a question. You said we get over 700 people answer. Quickly, for each one of you, give me a milestone about that. Who could accomplish one of this, 2 of them, or all of them? Slafkovsky, 20 goals this year. Suzuki, 30 goals or 80 points. Caulfield, 30 goals. And Madison, 60 points. That question was only for one answer, but I would like to add for both of you. Give me like, oh no, this guy can do it, another guy can do it. So start with Marko and Enortap.
Well, because Slafkovsky, Suzuki, and Caulfield are on the power play, as is Matheson. I mean, all those are realistic. Like, I could see Slafkovsky hitting 20. He's at 12 now. Can he get 8 in the last 25 games that are left or so? 27. It's possible. Suzuki, 80 points, I think is. He's at 53 points right now in 55 games. It's a little bit shy of that pace, obviously, but he's right there. I don't see why not. Again, the power play will provide those opportunities for them. It's not just the 5-on-5s. Caulfield, 30 goals. He's getting his opportunities, man. He's taking 6, 7 shots, 8 sometimes per game. And you know what? When you're a sniper, you get streaky at times. We're seeing it right now with somebody like Austin Matthews, and every time he touches the puck, he's scoring. And Caulfield could go on a run that will get him those 30 goals. And Matheson, I don't think he'll hit 60, but he should be around 55 by the end of the year.
Marko?
Oh boy, Coach. I don't think honestly, I don't think any of these are going to hit. To be honest, I think the only how many points does Matheson have now? 40.
He's got 41.
41.
Yeah, that's going to be hard, I think.
That's going to be hard. I don't think Caulfield gets to 30. He's at 17 right now.
He's 19.
19.
He's at 19.
19. Okay. Yeah, I still don't think he does that. Yeah, I don't think they hit any of these. Maybe
80 points, Marko.
80 points for Suzuki. That but a lot I don't know. It's going to be hard to hit any of these.
So Marko, I will give you that number there, right? Slafkovsky missing 8 goals, Suzuki missing 10 goals, and Caulfield missing 11 goals. That's the number about that one for that part. And Madison is missing 19 points. We still have 27, 28 games to go.
I just like to manage my expectations, Coach. So
27.
in my mind, I don't know. Like, I think Suzuki will probably. I think like Suzuki right now is scoring at a much higher rate than is normal for him. To be honest, like I don't view him. I thought for me 25 goal season for Suzuki is probably where I see him. Yeah, it's a good year for him because hopefully he can be like a 75, like 25 goals, 50 assists kind of guy, more so than a 30 goal scorer. But
yeah, I don't see the 30, Marko. I don't see the 30, but I think the 80 is within reach.
Yeah, I think so too. Like a good question too for Caulfield. Like, can he get 75 points? Like, because Caulfield right now he's almost like kind of like a half and half kind of guy too, right? As many apples as he does have goals. So it would be interesting to see what the disparity in points between Caulfield and Suzuki is as well too, right? Caulfield is kind of developing his game to being that two-way threat or that more overall kind of offensive player.
One thing is fun is watching the first line, and they produce right now straight for 8 for Slafkovsky, 9 and 10 for Suzuki. Caulfield just stopped 11 for that one there.
And what's fun, what's fun, and one thing that I've noticed watching your live streams, I've been watching you for almost 2 years now, right? I can genuinely see in your face and hear in your voice how much you're enjoying watching this first line. So again, I haven't watched hockey with you, for that long, but this is by far the funnest I've seen you having fun watching that first line. Like,
you have to go all the way at the playoff, Marko. My first year.
I'm sure.
One day was the Vegas and the Winnipeg. Everybody, I think that create my name and the channel on that one over there. And again, it's not me. It's not me, Marko. But if the Montreal was going to be better, the channel here, like a note, like tonight will be like 80 people, 900, like 90 people here because we just talk about the Montreal game. So it's just a question of time as to key if we can read that. But you're right. I enjoy right now to watching that first line. It's fun. Like I said, this is the only thing we got right now for the rest of the year, for the next 27 game, to have a great time with the first line for the Montreal Canadiens. So hopefully that will happen about that. We're going to talk about Slafkovsky another time because we talk enough about this one over there. Prospect, guys, only I want to talk about this. Mayu right now is it 1 point per game right now? Or I know he's a top defenseman right now.
I think he's 1 point below.
He had no point yesterday. So
but he's the leading
defenseman in the AHL right now.
Yeah, and then great way for Florent Jacquet, came back with 2 game back-to-back with 1 goal, 1 assist. Almost the same number of the goal of Owen Beck this year. Florent Jacquet, so I have to mention that part. Owen Beck have another great week. He's looking good with the same thing with the team he played right now. So congratulations for Owen Beck. And Lane Hutson have only one goal this weekend. And I can go away with each one of them. But I won't stop right there because it's time to go to prediction of the week. Montreal Canadiens play 3 games tonight this week. One game Buffalo Wednesday, Thursday, and Pittsburgh. And then he's going to play the Saturday against the New Jersey Devils. This is the week of the Montreal Canadiens. And then last week, Coach did it again. Mr. Enortap, I got the 1-2-0. I know you tried to get a double, the second W against the Washington. AK Pierre Martin on the winner about that one with that. And before we start, guys, I want to mention this. I know I said I would bring that headline, the weekly recap about that. And I know you're not going to like it, but I have to mention that part over there. Let me remove that part over there. I have 12 points this week because I got the football. I nailed it. The team and the number of the point was a total of 5. Because of that, Mr. Enortap, now I become right there, reach Yamo at the top with Enortap 88 Woody, but I don't have a good weekend like many of us. We don't have a good weekend on the prediction. This weekend was not a good one over there. And obviously, Mr. Enortap, RJ and Nicolas are going to be back in the jail for another week, but Nicolas don't have the same jail. He's going to juvenile jail for Nicolas, and RJ is still on the Alcatraz Hockey Nation. So I just want to mention that. And then your prediction of the week, Mr. Gary, we start with you.
Mr. Gary?
Yeah, Gary. We start
Gary?
with Gary. You have 1 and 2, Gary, by the way. So,
I thought Gary was going to be joining us for.
Yeah, no, he's still the driver of the UPS for now.
I thought maybe that was Bert or Ernie's brother. I don't know.
Okay. Maybe Gary is Ernie. Who knows?
Yeah, you want me to start, Marko, with this?
Yeah,
I'm gonna go backwards here. Like New Jersey, it's gonna be a tough one. New Jersey's trying to make a push, and so far, they're staying in the mix. It's gonna be tough. It's in New Jersey as well, so I predict a loss there. The Buffalo game, I think, is a little bit more doable. It's in Montreal. I anticipate. I anticipate maybe Monty playing in that one. And then they play the next night against Pittsburgh, which will be tough. I'm going to go 1-1-1 this week.
Oh, and after I go 1-1-1.
All right, so I'll work backwards too. I agree. New Jersey is going to be a tough one. They're fighting tooth and nail to get in. I think Pittsburgh, we always play Pittsburgh hard. They might be squeezing their sticks. If they've, I think they might already kind of, the final nail in the coffin might have been today here, but either they're going to be squeezing their sticks. But we play pretty well against Pittsburgh, and I think you're right. I think Monty probably gets that start, so probably our best shot at winning. And guys, I just feel Buffalo, they always play hard against us, and they like that Jeff Skinner, man, he's just poison against the Habs. So I'm gonna go 1-2 for this week, and I agree, Coach. We'll probably see all 3 goalies this week.
Yeah, I think that would be the call of that one over there. But give me a lot of good choice because I don't like to be like you, all of you. So 1-1-1 was make sense. 1-0-1-2-0. It was make sense also to get that direction for me. Pierre Martin go 1-1-1. I tried to pick up everybody. Yeah, Pierre Martin got you, and I have everybody else. So boring. I would say 1-1 and 1-1-1. Or I would say 1-2-0. So I'm going to go 0-2-1.
There you go.
And that way, I'm the only one. So we got a 2-1-0 if I look at Larry Lavallée. We got Nicolas de Bono said 0-3. And then Abination go 3-0 for the Montreal Canadiens. Then many others have a 1-1-1 and 1-2-0, like Marko said, most of you guys. So pretty good about this one. Oh, Joe Manella, Mr. Enortap. Joe Manella knocked the door and you want to be different like everybody else. He said 2-0-1 for
all right. I like
Joe
it.
Manella. So
there you go.
Great point
Somebody else
about
was
that,
right.
Joe. Don't forget to click on the like. That'll be awesome. We try to keep everybody on the 2 hours, and I think it will be the way to finish the show. But guys, this is a great show tonight. I don't know the headline at 10 o'clock. I think it was pretty good to do it at 10 o'clock tonight. Great question. A lot of people, a lot of great comments in the chat tonight, guys. I think people like Bob go with 03, like Bob's is go with 03, the buzz. The buzz.
Come on, Bob.
Bob's, it looked like the buzz light, Mr. Enortap, for that one over there. But we'll see what's happening, Mr. Enortap. But Marko, what do you want to add more before the end of the show?
It was a fun week, Coach. Great following the games with you on your live streams and all the great people in the Hockey Nation live chat. Make it always fun to watch the game. So another great week, and at least we have something exciting to focus on, even though the games are going to be a bit tougher here at the end. At least we have a first line that's fun to watch, and we're looking forward to another fun week. Happy Family Day.
Great point about that. We hit the 50 likes, Mr. Enortap. Great people in the chat. KLS knocked the door at the last minute with Joe Manella. And for you, you gave us all your stat I got for that one there. And Mr. Enortap, one more thing to tell us.
Yeah, just happy Families Day to everybody as well. And we look forward to a great, great week.
Here we go. The show was sponsored by Sesame Street. Until the next time, my friend, remember, you are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. What a great show tonight. First of all, we want to thank the co-hosts, Marko Larabi from Hawkesbury and Enortap from Toronto. And all the moderators, Luciano knocked the door tonight, followed by Danny and Ron with Kings, all three moderators of the show. And, of course, RJ Calabro with all the update in news. I did not know the tree or lemon or whatever it was, 10 to 15, and use the name that Mr. Enortap. But, the question is it bigger or taller at Big Bird? That's a big question about that one over there. But again, we want to say one more thing for all the people. Click on the like. Thanks so much. For all the people come here every single night. You know who you are. You are really welcome all the time here. You are the reason why the channel is so good, because you do it with respect. A great, great night here, guys. And before we leave, want to remind everybody, be well, be healthy. Find a way not only dominate your day, but find a way to dominate the first half of 1% out top.
Year 2024.
You did it again. See you Wednesday night, both of you, at the weekly at the locker room report. Until then, of course, our Canadian show, that nation will tell you one thing. We love you, people. Have an amazing good family tomorrow. And of course, happy holidays, President, for Willie Snyder. Good luck to the Moose and the final, and Arvada again, the Vel. We'll see what happening, Mr. Enortap. We'll go to the breaking news tomorrow night. Until then, enjoy the week. The last week on February. Good night, everybody.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, guys.
Hockey Nation.
Booyah!